and let the games begin. Okay, tonight's daf is universally considered one of the most difficult dafs in Shas, but guess what? It's Daf Yomi, so it's no sweat. You know, you'll hear, you say, but what would take you, I don't know how long in yeshiva will take us 45 minutes. Anyway,
We're so smart.
Dove.
Let's give it over. Somebody's awake.
Anyway, we saw the Gemara about the shaila about whether chashal memoina chashal shvuah. So our Mishnah said that two people are holding onto a beged. This one says kula shali, this one says kula shali, and they make a shvuah. The Gemara asks, how can they make a shvuah? Chashal memoina chashal shvuah. Right. So the Gemara answered, we're not chashal. We hold you not. We know that people are very careful when it comes to shvuas because the world shook when the Baruch says like the world shook, so therefore, even when it comes to mama, they might steal. When it comes to shvuah, we're choshed, they're not going to be. So even if you're choshed on memoina, you won't be choshed on shvuah. So Gemara is asking different places that you see l'chayra, well, you should be. Says the Gemara. So now, Elaha 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by 7 lines off from the bottom on Hey on the base. Elaha the Amrav Huna. Mashbina says shvuah sheina b'shusay. So Rashi brings the shvuah hashayim, fellas, and the following. Let's say somebody gives you something to watch. Comes along, someone gives you're a shayim sacha. Armed robber came and robbed you. Are you off the hook? Absolutely. Armed robber is considered an einus, yeah? Mm-hmm. Guy comes along and says to you, yeah, and you say the following, so you can swear shvuas hashayim, right? You can swear shvuas hashayim to get off the hook. This guy says, you know what? I don't want to make a shvuah. I want to pay. Even though he wants to pay, he still has to make one shvuah. It's called shvuah sheina b'shusi. In other words, maybe the object you gave me really wants. So you know what he'll do? He'll go ahead, he'll pay you for it, and he'll keep it. So to ensure that doesn't transpire, you throw on the shvuah hashayim. So Fred the Gemara, El Hoda Omer Afhuna, Mashbina says shvuah sheina b'shusay. I said shvuah, not shvuah hashayim, shvuah sheina b'shusay. That you swear that the shvuah is not in your, that's not in your shus. Name a migid the chashal amayna chashal shvuah. So says the Gemara, no, we don't say it because Hasan Nami Moira v'Amar. He goes there, he's Moira Heta v'Amar. They make Yavna lay. I paid him for it. In other words, people, if you're Moira Heta, then we're not worried that you're chayshit. So therefore, in that case, even though he's taka being, I guess, a ganef or something, he's paying for it. Then therefore, we're not chayshit that he's going to go ahead. Right? He's not chayshit that he's a Rasha and make a shvuah. Says Gemara, so now he's not a Gazlan because he gave money, but he's a Rasha because he's over on the Isra like Sachmaid. There's an Isra like Sachmaid. You shouldn't covet what's not yours. You went ahead. The guy entrusted you to watch something. You want it very much, right? So what do? You go ahead and you pay him for it. But obviously, over the like Sachmaid, one of the Aseres Adibris. So good, he's not choshid on Gezela because he's the Murray he paid for it. He should be a Rasha like Sachmaid. So if you choshid on Mamoina chashal shvuasa, then why is he able to go ahead and swear after all? He's over the Israel like Sachmaid, not to covet something that belongs to somebody else like Sachmaid. Says the Gemara, like Sachmaid leinshi b'lei demei mashmalahu. Again, he's not choshid over here because like Sachmaid is usually where it doesn't involve any monetary loss on his behalf. But over here, since he went ahead and paid for it, so therefore he's more heter, and therefore what? He's not chashid. Amid Aleph. And like in other words, Fred the Gemara kasha like Sachmoid l'chayre he's a Rasha because like Sachmoid, and for the Gemara vis-a-vis a shvuah, it could be like Sachmoid, but vis-a-vis a shvuah, we're not chashid him that he's going to lie on the shvuah because he doesn't think he's being over like Sachmoid. It's irrelevant what he's over or not. It's what he thinks. The Mariheta, you understand? What do you think? He thinks I'm good. I paid for it, so good. You're Mariheta.
It's not so hush. If I see someone has something and I want, and I go and pay for it.
Right. Well, again, if he's selling it, it's not a problem. If you see, that's not a problem.
I see a guy wearing a nice jacket, and I go, wow, I really want that. I'm not jacket, right?
If he accepts the money, then that's a sale. If you grab it off his back and you take the money and shove it. Right.
No, but once it's sale, then there's no place.
Yeah. It's a sale. Yeah. Rav Nachman. Mashpin, I say Shvuas Hesis. Now, Rav Nachman says in a Mishnah in Shvuas that a person's kaifa b'kol, right? A person's kaifa b'kol, right? We have l'chayra, the person who is making a claim from him. We highly doubt that he is just coming out of the booth to steal from him. Good. So why does he have to swear? A shvuas hesis that as we said yesterday, he swears a shvuas hesis that incited the nitva to tell the truth. Well, you know what? Did you take it or not? We're assuming that the guy who went ahead and is making a claim from you is not lying. Why would a person go and do that? So if you're saying that you claim for b'kol, so you don't have to, because only moedim and mixas midoraisa makes a shvua. Midrabanan, you have to swear that you're squeaky clean. Fred the Gemara, how could you swear? Why don't we say nema migu de chashid amamayna chashash shvua? So just like we're chashid that this person went ahead and took and is kaifa b'kol, he's also chashid that he's going to swear falsely, and there's no more hister over here. Besu hadetani Rabbi Shneim nishboyim v'noitlin. We have, guys, Reb Chia, how we got into this. This is chenvani al pinkasei. Chenvani al pinkasei. A person goes ahead, he owes money to a worker. He goes to his shopkeeper and says, you pay him and I'll pay you back. Shopkeeper comes up and says, you know what? I paid him. Paul says, what? I didn't get it. They both swear that what? That they didn't get paid. You have to pay both of them. Now, how could what they swear? The shopkeeper swears he gave it. The Paul swears he didn't get it. One's lying. If you can say migu dechashav mani chashav shvasa, how could you allow them to swear? But Tani Rabbi Chia shneim nishboyim v'noitlim mibalabayis neima migu dechashav mani chashav shvasa. So two kashas that you would not say migu dechashav. One, Rav Nachman's shvuas heses on kaifa b'kol. How can we let this guy swear? Well, and over here, Vadai, you have a lawyer. This is a very, very strong question, right? You have a Vadai lawyer over here. One of them certainly is lying, and nonetheless, you're going to make them swear? If you're chashid on the minor, we shouldn't let you swear. Besu, Hadam Rav Sheshes, Shleisha Shvuas Mashbiin, I say. Three Shvuas you make him right. Shvuas Shlei Pashati Ba, Shvuas Shlei Shalachti Ba Yad, a Shvuas that I wasn't Paisheya. This is a Shvuas Shemachinam. Shvuas that I wasn't shalech yad, because again, if you use it, fellas, automatically becomes yours. You're a gazlan, and you're chayiv ba'insin, right? We'll see this in Amafkid. And shvua sheina b'shusi, and shvua is not there. Name amiga dechashin al mamayna chashash shvuasa. Let's say miga dechashin al mamayna yachashid on shvuasa. So why don't we say that? Ella, why do you have to say lo yamina miga dechashin mamayna chashash shvuasa? Right? You don't say that. You don't say miga dechashin mamayna chashash shvuasa.
Say make the shvua.
Right? So he makes the shvua. That's why all these guys make the shvua. Okay, now, so what was the reason? How did we get into this? Rabbi Yochanan. What did Rabbi Yochanan say? What's the shvu in the Mishnah? The guy's going to go ahead and grab the talis. Right? That was one of the opinions over here. So now, Abaya Omar, right? Abaya says the following: Ihachi, if that's the chashinan. You know what it's speaking on Mishnah, guys? This guy has a talis. He's walking along with the talis. He's owed you money for the ends of time. You've multiple times, how many times you try to go over to him, collect the money? He didn't give it to you. Now, what do you see? He's got an object. He's got an object that's worth money. So what do? Go ahead and you chop it. You go ahead and you chop it. That's the case of the Mishnah, right? Not that the case of the Mishnah is that the milvi is shana, and you go ahead. There's a milvi shana, and you go chop it, and so really what can sign migu the chashed al mamayna chashed al shvuasa, guys. But here we're not chashed. Here he's grabbing what milvi is shana. Says Rashi, Abaya Omar, Haimi the Maslisan love created Rabbi Yochanan. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yochanan who says the reason you throw the shvua on it is that's like it's not to be a deterrent that a person shouldn't go ahead and just jump at a chance to chop something. No. The Abi Chashid Lon, a Hoylech v'Toikif v'Talis Chaveiroi Chinam, If we would think this person would just go and grab for no reason, we would be choshen and we would make him shua. In other words, that's not pshat na Mishnah. If the Mishnah is correct, like Rabbi Yochanan, that you're worried that a person is going to go and chap something, we wouldn't let him swear because over here, however, do you know how he ended up grabbing onto this talus? For a good reason. Why? Continues Rashi. On this guy who has the talus, the guy who's holding onto the talus owes him money. And he recognizes that he forgot about the loan. And he denies it. No, he denies it. Rashi throws down, if the guy owes you money, go to Bezdin, right? But the guy, what's the guy saying? I don't remember, I don't remember. I got older, I don't remember. Happens, right? Right? So now, I'm talking to myself now. Anyway, so with Taikif, and he goes and chaps it. So guys, he's not choshen in this case, right? He's not choshen in this case. Because the loan is secured by even any metalton that this person has. Okay, I feel a glimid al katvoy. So very gishmak. So we have Rabbi Yochanan's pshat in the Mishnah. Now we have for the shua, and we have Rav Papa's pshat. We'll go over that. We'll summarize in a second. And we have Abaya. Ihachi, if you're telling me that it's Milvi Yeshana, why are you throwing a shua on him? Right? In other words, you're telling me he wouldn't chap it unless there's a reason, yeah? So why are you throwing a shua on him? What's the deterrent? What's the purpose behind the shua? Bishleim Rabbi Yochanan, the shua is what? As a deterrent, it's going to stop you from going ahead and jumping on the talus with the other guy. Masha Enkein, according to this case, what's going to stop you? Right? There should be no reason for a shua here. There should be no reason. Not a vadai, but suffix. Right? Okay, it's a suffix. It's a suffix, maybe. Just like he's typhus misafik, why aren't we worried that he's going to swear misafik? Says Rav Sheshes, Shua, person will separate from misafik shua, like we saw typhus yesterday. Rabbi's typhus, that the typhus that is Nazaya, that it jumped when Eretz Yisrael, not Eretz Yisrael, the world shook when HaKadosh Baruch said Lesisa, like partially misafik from Maina, but he won't separate misafik from Maina. My timer. Let's say if he grabs it besafik, in the end it's mavara that it's not. He's gonna give it back. Shua less of bechazara, but there's no backstays on a shua. So nimtza, guys, we really now ended the first segment of the Mishnah. Talis. That was the Mishnah, right? What's the reason for the shua? So we have 4 reasons. Okay, let's go through that. Rav Papa's reason why he's mariheta. Guys, it's mariheta, right? Because 2 cases. What is Metzia? Zeyam ani Metzia. That's the case of Metzia. Zema kula shali meka chumemka. Meka chumemka. Mariheta, right? This guy just found something. I'm going to go chop it, right? Why? He didn't pay for it. Oh, this guy gave money? I gave money also. So in those 2 cases where he's mariheta, we'll throw a shvua. That's Rav Papa. Then we came along Rabbi Yochanan. What was Rabbi Yochanan's pshat? Why do we throw the shvu on him? That he shouldn't go ahead and it'll be a deterrent. Then we have a Baya's case that the suffix chayshtinon of a milva, that perhaps the person, he owed the money or is misupik where he owed the money, so he'll go ahead and he'll jump on it. So Yeshava now is a suffix woman, he'll jump at suffix shua, he's going to stay away from. And finally we have Reb Chia, right? We have Reb Chia who said that that it's a midaraisa to Geshua. Guys, Reb Chia hold this is Moida mixes ataina. This is Moida but mixes ataina. Whatever you're holding on to is yours, and you're claiming the whole thing, right? It's Moida mixes ataina, it's just Shua deraisa. Those are the 4 pshatim. So if you just joined Daf Yomi now and Daf Vav, look, guys, you didn't miss anything. We covered everything in a minute, right? Okay. The next sugya is really challenging. We'll try to get a common thread through it, okay? Boy, Reb Zera. You have these 2 guys, they're holding on to a talus. Now, Pachvad Echa Bifanenu, right? In front of Bezdin, it's Machloikas what that's me, in front of Bezdin or not, one of them goes ahead and grabs it. He grabs it. Mahu. Now, hey, Chidani, what's the case? So the guy grabs it, and the other person, either shasak, if he's quiet, I do or I delay. That what? It must belong to the other guy. It must belong to the other guy. He's grabbing it. It must belong to the other guy.
They come in holding it together?
They come in holding it together. Now one grabs it, right? And the other guy's silent. So the svara is that Mustama, the first guy got it. I came on lately. Johnny came lately on the scene. And therefore, he's being minded that it's the first guy's.
I was waiting for Basin to do something.
The idakot savach, and if he's screaming, my havile, what else could he have done? So what's the shaila? His actions will go ahead and tell us what exactly the din should be. If he's quiet, so clearly it belongs to the guy who chapped it. If he's screaming, so he came in front of him holding us, so this guy's strong enough, he pulled it away. So what exactly is the shaila? So like tzricha, here's the case. The shasik meikara. Initially, while he was quiet. Why? V'hada tzavach, and then he began to scream. Mai. Mida ashtik aiduya aidalei. When he was quiet initially, he was maided to him. Aidilma kivin the kotzavach hashta. Now he's going ahead and he's yelling now. Iglai milsa the hide shasik meikara savach kachazi like rabbanon. He's like this is what Rabbi said. The rabbanon they saw it, right? So, guys, watch the shaila. Guys, get the shaila clear because we're going to go. The rest of the daf is predicated upon understanding the shaila. The guy chaps in front of Bez, then he grabs from him. He's grabbing from him, and right away he's silent. And then all of a sudden, the Bez doesn't react. He starts to scream. Do we say his initial silence is he's admitting that the other person belongs to him, or do we say the reason he was silent initially was because he was waiting for Bezdin to go ahead and act upon and tell him to get do something? And when Bezdin doesn't, he begins to scream. So that's the Gemara Shaila. Now it seems to be a pretty straightforward Shaila, but for some reason it's not. Rav Nachman says Rav Nachman, Tashma. B'medavar mamurim. When do we say that yachloku b'shvua? Sheshneim adukin ba. That's when they're both going edwan and holding on to it. If the talus is coming from one of them, so guys, what would the case be? Me and Yankel, we walk to Besdin. Yankel's holding on to a talus. Yankel says it's mine, and I say it's mine. What's going to be the din? It's a dava pasha, right? So you don't need a brisa to tell me that. That's a dava pasha. So what must be the case over here? What must be the case over here? So hey Chidami, what exactly is this case where one person's holding on to it and it's a din of Metzia? There must be something more than he's holding it totally and I'm totally independent of it. Hey Chidami, if you tell me literally, like you said, one person's holding on to it and the other person is just not holding on to nothing, pshita it's a din of Metzia. Ella must be shetakva echa b'fanenu. It must be, what the case is, where one person went ahead, they both of them holding on to it, and the other person ripped it away. Okay? And therefore now it's going to lend itself into anidin. And hachamayaskinon, right? So what's the din, guys? So I'm moitzi mechaveroi olavaraya. So l'chayra, it could be paisha the shaila. We can paisha the shaila that takva echa b'fanenu, and the guy we assume is screaming, right? And I guess you have to say the guy's screaming, right? Or else what's how you paisha the shaila? It must be that first he's quiet and then he's screaming. Look at Rashi. Elolav, guys. Rashi fills us in. Elolav ukidu kimna, like we established. The shasik, that first he was silent. That's really missing from the Gemara, guys, correct? So why did the Gemara simply say, it must be the case where one person grabbed it from the other person, and Rashi's filling in the blanks. And what must he have done? And it must be that initially he was quiet, and then he began to scream. Good? Keep going. No, it says, they come in front of us, and they're both holding on to it. Go, as they go divide. Go divide. Okay, so me and Yankel show up in Besdin. We're both holding on to this talus, and Besdin says, "Go divide it up." We walk out of Besdin, Menafko, v'hada asi, and kitapas echad minayu. Yeah, Yankel comes back and he's holding on to it, and I'm not. Hi. Ki tafas lachad minayu. Hi Omar. Oida oida. Li Yankel claims that what? That it was moided to me. But hi Omar bidemei agrati nehle. I say I rented it to Yankel. So in other words, fellas, outside for a second. This has no bearing on Ashayla. Ashayla, this has no bearing because it's not speaking the case. It's not speaking where they both came, grabbed it. One guy started being quiet and then he's screaming. That's not the case. And what the case is over here where they both came in front of us holding on to it. They walk, Bezdin says, Yechloiku. They walk out and now they come back and only one person's holding it. What's the taina? This guy's holding it, says he's mighty to me. The other guy says, I rented it to him. Right? In that case, the guy who said he rented it, in this case, me, I'd have to bring a raya that it's mine. That's the case. But it has no bearing on a shayla. Now, why do I have to bring a raya? Bezdin says to me, until now you choshed this guy Yankel is a gazlan, right? Because you said kula shali, and he's holding on to the other half. And now you're going to rent it to him what? Without Adim? So Memela, that's the case. So you wanted to go ahead and use to answer the Shaila from this case. This case is not speaking about a case where a person was first quiet and began to scream. It's speaking about another Metzias. It's speaking about where they both holding on to it. They leave Bezdin, a person comes back with it. Now the person who's holding on to it, the other person has to be Metzia Mechaveret. In Viba Yisema, on other pshat, Kidiktani. They also come on kitavas lachad minayu. One person's holding on to it. The other person's holding on to the fringes, right? The sumchis the sircha lav klum, that holding on to the fringes what is nothing. The bottom line is you weren't paisha the shaila. Good. So what's the shaila again? One person grabs it, the other person now begins to scream. And then he's quiet initially, and then he begins to yell. Do we go after his initial reaction and saying he's moda, or do we say no, since he's yelling at a later point, it must be that he was waiting for Bezdin to do something and they didn't do anything. Now, this is where the Gemara gets hard. This in Svara, guys, in Svara, in Pshat, as it rolls along, it won't be so hard. In Svara, it's hard. Now, Im Tim Sulaima, if you're going to say, if someone grabs in front of us and initially you're quiet and then you begin to scream, then we're going to take it back. Then hekdesha eina mukudeshes. Then if the person will be magdashit, it's not mukudeshes. Why? Because he has. It's might seem some yadai. The other person has rights in it, right? Might seem. In other words, he's holding on to it. But the other person can be mitzi, so it's not yours to be magdish because the other person has rights. Because if you grab it, what are we going to do? We're going to take it back. However, im tim solaim tak ve'echel b'fanenu ein mitzina samiyadai. If you say if a person grabs it and the other guy's screaming, is quiet and then screams, and if he grabs onto it, we'll let him keep it. Hegdesha b'loi takva mahu. What's the din? If he's magdashit without takfa,
Who's being magdish?
What?
The screamer?
Who's being magdashit? You know what? I assume the person who's screaming because the other one's holding on to it, right? The other person's holding on to it, so I assume it's the screamer. Okay. So now, but if you're going to say tak ve'echa b'fanenu, and the second person is quiet and screaming, ein might see some yadai of the taikif. Right, because his shtika will view as hayda in mekdisha. If I guess the person who's holding on to it in mekdisha, right, below the kafa, right. If again, let's say you didn't go ahead, let's say you didn't grab it. Let's say in the case when they were both holding on to it, since if you would have grabbed it, it would be yours. What happens if you magdish it now? Before you grab it. Okay, guys, here's the shaila. Guys, listen to the shaila. Let's say you would say, if you would grab it away, it would be yours. and you wouldn't take it out. So you show you have bilus in this thing. What happens if you didn't grab it? Could you be magdish it? What happens if you didn't grab it? Could you be magdish it? That is the lumdish shaila over here, which is hard to believe. Since if I would have grabbed it, it's mine. So I have ownership over here. Even if I don't grab it, my ownership, so maybe I could go ahead and be magdish it. The other guy also can do it, right? Nachinami. The king is the problem. Now, Mahu. Even the Amamar. Amira alone, when it comes to being magdish something, it's like giving it over. That's the Kenyan, Yankel. There's a day somewhere that it's since the whole world belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's Kenyan Chatzah.
Because it's a heck, I could go back to Hashem.
Right. No, Hashem owns it. So he gives you rights. And he gives you right again, he gives you rights, but now you're being magdish to give it back to him. So where's the Kenyan? Kenyan Chatzah. Yeah. So now, I'm wrestling away, can wrestle the head yet. Commanded talk for dummy. It's as if he grabbed nerds. We view the act of Magdish as if he grabbed it away from him. We view the act of Magdish as if he grabbed it away from him. Now, when he was Magdish it, guys, he's also quiet. Look at Taisvis. Higdisha b'lei talk for Mahu. Umayri nami ki goin shes shosak b'shas shehigdish. Ulebesoif kisheshola hagizbar savach. The same Metzia of the case. Okay, so let's go outside, guys. Outside, eye contact outside. If you're going to tell me the following, you're going to tell me im takva echa b'fanenu ein Metzia semiyadai. It means that what you could, even though you're screaming, you're quiet and screaming, we'll view it as his. How do we view the act of hegdish when you're both holding on to it and he's magdish it? And you're quiet initially when he's magdish it, and then you begin to scream. Do we view your initial silence as admitting that it's his, and then you began to scream? In other words, takfa is a physical, and hegdish is metaphysical. But in both cases, you're taking it away from his rishus. One through a physical action. One through a halakhic action, because if it's hegdish, right? If it's hegdish, then what? Then l'chayra, and he's quiet, so you took it away from him. That's the Gemara Shaila. Now, I just want to be aware. This is a klutz kasha, guys. This is a real klutz kasha. Tosfos clearly said that you hegdish, and then the gizba is going to come. Okay, we have to wait. I'll wait for the klutz kasha in a second. You have a klutz kasha. Okay, so we have the Metzias of the case. We have the Metzias of the case. Let's see it inside. Says the Gemara. Imtim Soleimat. Of 4 lines up from the bottom. Imtim Soleimat. Talk for Echa b'fanenu. Ein Maitzina Samiyadai. And we're going to view it as his. Hegdesha Biloi Takfa. If you magdish it without grabbing it, right? And says Tosfos, what does that mean? You're magdish it and the guy is quiet. And then he screams the same Metzias, right? Mahu. Keeping the amamara, mirasal gavoy, mirasal the head, your dummy commanded talk for dummy. It's as if he physically grabbed it. A dilma, or perhaps hashtamiya halay takfa, he didn't do it. So, what extent does he have ownership over here? Does he need complete jurisdiction over here, or even halachic jurisdiction? Even this physically, he doesn't have it in his rishus. That's the Gemara Shaila. Okay, and therefore, therefore, he's not taking it. He's not able to go ahead and be magdish it. Well, ayuksiv v'ishki yagdish is basically kodesh. It's not in his rishus because the other person's holding on to it because he wasn't taking it. Okay, we want to be pushed the shaila, and we're going to go with Rashi from the following case. And this actually happened. Dahima Susa, there was the Amid base, there was this bathhouse. The Havi Mansu Allah Beitrei. 2 people were fighting over this bathhouse. Now, the bathhouse has a din of karka, and look at I feel bad. Go back to the Yom Halif. The last Tosfos. The hacha de tak for kayin nira the hachi mi boyle b'mesusa. Even the mekarkehi, since it's like karka, the have a dina called the olam gavar. The din would be again, to the victor goes the spoils, right? We spoke about by that boat. We said called whoever's stronger, govar. So again, was it mean physically? Doesn't mean with rayas. So that would be the din. Okay. So back in the Gemara. So you have this bathhouse, and the din should be called the olam govar. Hi Omar. This person says, DD. This person says it's mine. V'hai Omar didihu, and this person says it's mine, and the din should be called the olam govar. Kom chad minayhu, one of them stood up in Akdisha, and he was Magdish the bathhouse. And he was Magdish the bathhouse. He stood up and he was Magdish the bathhouse. What? He was Magdish the bathhouse. One of them was Magdish the bathhouse. Two guys, right? One of them was Magdish the bathhouse, and it's speaking also with the guy's l'chayra. He was screaming quietly initially, and then he began screaming. Or else he came by Shashayla. Parish Mina Rav Chananya. Rav Chananya stayed away from this bathhouse. Rav Oishia stayed away from this bathhouse. The Kul Rabbanon, and all the Rabbanon stayed away from this bathhouse. Va'amalei Rav Oishia l'Rabba, said Rav Oishia to Rabba, listen, Ki oz l'kamei Rav Chisda, when you go to your Rebbe Rav Chisda, l'Kafri, to the town of Kafri, boy minei, ask from him, right? Go and ask from him, what's the din? What's the din? When you get there, he's going to say, okay, here's my klutz kasha, guys. When is this speaking? What time in history is this speaking? There's no Beis Hamikdash. There's no Gizbar. This is the Amoraim. This is not the Tanoim. So it's a shtickle klutz kasha. I'll tell you why. You could be Magdish something bisman hazeh. If you say something's kodesh, it's kodesh. You're going to be off gahak tzaris because you won't be a carbon. You'll be moil behegdish. You're gonna have to be a carbon asham, right? You could do it. So that's not bothering me as much. What's bothering me as much as Tosfos says when the gizbar comes to get it. That's bothering me. Where's the gizbar? Which gizbar? There's no gizbar for what? Gizbar is usually the guys in charge. Based on the gabbai there, right? Okay. Anyway, it's a klutz kasha, but it's just I think it's interesting just to throw it out. Okay.
What would happen if you were Makdish bathhouse today?
You would have no one could use it.
Maybe the gizbar is someone who's going to come put a lock on it so that no one uses it. Maybe that's what it means. In other words,
what's gizbar? What does that mean? Gizbar is a shaila guy who works for the Beis Hamikdash. That's what a gizbar is in general. Okay. Anyway, again, it's a klutz kasha. It's not a kasha because you could be magdish something. You'd have a problem. You could also be poided. It's kudush better kabayis. You could be poided. You know what? Bisman hazeh, nothing as kedushas aguf. An animal might be problematic because that's kedushas aguf. But there's a bottle of water, something, some is like you could be paida. You could be paida. Yeah. Then money you have to chuck the money into the Yam Melach. Well, that's the shiloh. Whether it doesn't mean anybody water dafid the Yam Melach where will get destroyed. Anyway, okay. So guys, so Rabbi was told by Rav Oishia to get when he got Rav Chisda asking what's the story with the bathhouse. However, on the way to Kafri, he came to the town of Surah, and in Surah was Rav Nuna. So he told Rabbi shared the shiloh with Rav Nuna, and Amalei Rav Nuna told him, Mas Nisan it's a Mishnah in Tyrus. What's the Mishnah say? Safik b'chayros, you have a Safik b'char. Now let's say, Echa b'char Adam, Echa b'char behema, bein tahar and bein tameim. Okay, let's say b'char Adam, guys. What would a shiloh be? You have a shiloh if a woman gave birth and then she had a vadai kid. So you don't know if if the kid is a b'char or not. B'char behema, again, you have the same suffix. B'char tahar, but bein tameim would be by chamar, right? Pigeon pet the chamar. So now, in all those cases, it's a ma'asim mechaber olav haraya, right? In all those cases, it's what a ma'asim mechaber olav haraya, right? V'tani Allah asurim begiza va'avoda. And in all these cases, it's asa begiza va'avoda. Well, now, at which point in time is it? Who does it belong to right now? It belongs to Yisrael, right? But it's mashma, whoever had it, it would be a mitzvah mechaber olav haraya. V'hahacha, the Amar, famous words. Takva kayin, if the kayin would grab it, the suffix b'char, ein maitzina sami yadai. You wouldn't be mitzi it from his hands. V'diktik tani, hamaitzi chaverai alav lehevi araya. Now, so if he's mitzi, if kayin grabs it, you're not mitzi. How do you know you're not mitzi? Because it says, in the case of suffix b'char, the din is hamaitzi mechaverai. Now, the havamina is whether it's in the hands of the Jew or the hands of the guy, or the kayin, it's going to be a din of mitzi mechaverai. No matter whose hands it's going to be a din of mitzi mechaverai. It doesn't make a difference. It's going to be a din of mitzi mechaverai. No matter who has it, it's going to be a mitzi mechaverai. Now, the chiloi takfu, and when the kayin doesn't grab it, asurim begiza v'avoida. It will be asa begiza v'avoida. It'll be asa v'giza v'avoida. So, and just like the schus of the kayin can make it asa begiza v'avoida before he grabs it, who adin the mesusa, he's able to go ahead and be magdashit even before it came to his hand. That's what we want to be paisha the shaila. So, in a very roundabout way, Rav Nun is being paisha the shaila. Let's go through it again. Just like over here, the kayin, if he would grab it, ein might say a semiyadai, you wouldn't take it away. So even where he doesn't grab it, right, it's still asa begiza v'avoida. So what do we see? Since he could grab it and he doesn't grab it, right, it's asa begiza v'avoida, meaning it's kaidesh, meaning it would still retain its kedusha, just like the schus of the kayin. It's the schus of the kayin that makes it asa begiza v'avoida, right? That guys, the havamina is, the havamina is that it's not the animal itself; it's the schus of the kayin in it that makes it. So just like the schus of the kayin in it makes it asa, so to the schus of the person who's fighting over the bathhouse would also be able to be magdashit. Says, let's see Rashi for a second. The second that line, that third line down where it gets small. Here's the havamina of Gemara. In Biyad Yisrael Hain, if it's the hand of the Yisrael, and here's what we need. Then takva kayin the shosak Yisrael v'hadet savach. Again, that's Rashi. It's machlekes Rashi and Tosfos, guys. Rashi's learning. The case over here in the Mishnah is what? The same thing as Agamara, where after the kayin grabbed it, what did he do? First he was quiet, and then he started screaming. Have Yisrael mitzvah chaveri? Then the Yisrael will be mitzvah chaveri. So now, guys, so set up. Guys, look at me. Let's set it up. If the kayin would have grabbed it, it would not be asa b'kisav avoida, because it's his now, right? We'll view what it is. So even if he doesn't grab it, the half meaning of the Gemara is it'd be asa b'kisav avoida. So we see the kayin has a schus even when it's in the hands of the Jew. So takva echa b'fanenu. What was that shaila? Since if he would grab it, he could be magdashit. What's the din if he's magdashit? Since we would grab it, it's his. Who adin what if he goes ahead and is magdashit when it's in your rishus? The same thing. So we best be poishit from it's the exact same case. The kayin, if he'd grab it, I might say so ein might see yadai. When it says if the kayin grabs it, you have to bring a raya. So what's the din? Ein might see in a samiyada. Tak for kayin. Ein might see in a samiyada. Good. That's tak for kayin. Again, he has no rights to grab this. But again, you might say he has a right to grab it. But again, if only might make if he grabs it. Now, here's the Gemara. Even if before he grabs it, it's asa b'gizav avoida. Why is it asa b'gizav avoida? Because if he would grab it, it'd be asa. So who adin it's asa there then? So you can answer a shaila. Tak for echa b'fanenu. Tak for echa b'fanenu. That if the guy's magdashit, it's kaidish. That's what the Gemara wants to be pushed to the shaila. And therefore, who adin b'mesusa? That since if he'd grab it, called the olam gavar, it'd be his. And the other guy, they didn't call him gavar, you could grab it back. Who adin what? You'd be able to go ahead and so again, here's the paper trail. We asked the shaila about if he first begins opening his mouth quiet and then opens his mouth. What's the din if the other guy grabs it? And if the din is the other person keeps it, what's the din if he's magdashit? Says the Gemara, I have a case of Mesusa, a case of a bathhouse. We had two people fighting on a bathhouse. The din is called the Olam Gavar. Whoever would grab it would have it. And person's magdashit. What's the din? Comes along the Shaila to Rav Nuna. Rav Nuna is using a Mishnah in Tyrus to be poshet the Shaila by bathhouse. And Mamela, we can poshet the Shaila by Tok Ve'echa B'Fanena, which we began the whole dialogue with, right? So let's go through it. The Kohen, it says the following. Whoever has it, Hamoitzi Mechaber Olav Araya. Even if the Kohen grabs it, guys, that's the key to the sugya, please. Even if the Kohen grabs it, it's Hamoitzi Mechaber. What does that mean? Ein Moitzi and Miyada. You're not going to go ahead and take it away from him. Memela, even if he doesn't grab it, it's the Kohen has a right in it. What's that right? It's Asab Gizav Avoida. So Memela, let's go. So you see that what? Talk for Echad B'Fanenu Ein Moitzi Miyadai. So Mesusa also. Since if he would grab it, it'd be his. Right? Therefore, by Mesusa, what would the din be? He's magdashit. It's kodesh, and it's according to Rashi speaking. In each case, where initially he was quiet and then he began to scream. So Mamela, we can place the shaila. Talk for echad b'fanenu. Guy's quiet and screams. Right? Since if ein might see it semi yadai, if he would magdashit when they're both holding on to it, it would be kodesh. That's what we want to say right now. Okay. Okay. Good. That was the hemshech Gemara. Amalei Rabba says Rabba, Kedushas Bechar Karmit. Kedushas Bechar, you're saying? Lo'ilam Eim Lech, I'll tell you, Takva Kayin Maitzin Isami Yadai. If the Kayin would grab it, guys, he would grab it, you would take it back. So what's the question? So why should us be Gizav Avoida? Guys, the whole kasha was the fact that it was Asa Begizav Avoida, what did it show? It showed that you don't take it back from the Kayin. He's saying over here, what are you talking about? Even if the din is that you grab it, you take it back, it's still be asa b'gizav avoda. It's a safek b'char. It's a safek b'char. Who made it kodesh? Mashain came by the Mesusa who made it kodesh. It's not a good sushtel then. You don't have a good sushtel. Geshmak. Geshmak. Okay, says the Gemara. Very geshmak. Amalei Rabba. Kedushas b'char karmit. Lo'il mem l'chal tell you tak v'koyin might see us samiyadai. You would take it back. And still it's asa b'gizav avoda. V'afilu hachi asur b'gizav avoda. Why? The kedusha b'me'aleha shiny. Kedusha that came by itself is different. But by the case of the bathhouse, it wasn't kodesh. He had to be magdashit. So over there, you can't be paisha the shaila from Suffolk. That's what Rabbi told to Rav Nuna. Okay? You geshmak? Geshmak. Amalei Reb Chananya l'Rabba said Reb Chananya l'Rabba Tanya the Messiah loch. I'll bring a riot to you that what? That talk for koyin might see the sami yadai. I'll bring you a riot that talk for koyin might see the sami yadai. Okay. What do we know about Maisa Behema, guys? Maisa Behema, the animal is born during that year. You put them in a corral, and every time the animal comes out, you take a red paint, you hit him on the back, and it belongs to Yisrael. It's what it is a carbon. It's a viable carbon. It's your carbon, right? It's your carbon. So now. Hasveikos nichnasin l'dir. Okay, let's see. Rashi is going to tell us what the sveikos are. Hasveikos l'kamam mefarish besafik pidyon petach hamor. It's a suffix where the mafresh olav tle lafkui yisura. You went ahead, you set aside a shepsel, a sheep, to go ahead and take off the kedusha from the chamor. V'hula atzmai, and then it belongs to the Jew. Shein tzarich l'in l'kayin. You have to give it to a kayin. Shamaytz mechaber olav araya by pidyon petach hamor. Pidyon petach hamor bari surahu. Im yesh l'kayin yud patre chamarim. In other words, if he had 10 sheep that we used to take off the kedusha, there's a din of Maisa Behema. Shenaflim base Avi Ima. He felt him out from his maternal his father-in-law, or his maternal his mother, his wife's, his Avi Imai, the father of his maternal, the father of his mother's his mother was a Yisraelis, her father was a Yisraelis, and now he inherited from his mother's father. Ma'afresh leim asor shayin, me'en shalcha. Hilkach safik pidyon petach hamar biyad Yisrael nichnas the deer im shat loyim shalai. This asher b'nafku asir leifik, no problem. In other words, since petach hamar memanushav, if it was unnecessary, then it's a regular animal, and if it was necessary, it works, right? Good. So asfeikos nichnasen l'dir l'sasher. V'yisak daitach tuch v'koyin eimait sinas samiyadai. Now, let's say the koyin would grab the petach hamar. The koyin gets the petach hamar, guys, right? Let's say we grab it. It belonged to him. So who's it belong to? The koyin. So let's get this straight, guys. Guys, look, eye contact. I got 10 animals. One of the animals is a suffix whether it belongs to the koyin or not. It's a suffix petach hamar. Yeah. If the din would be tuck for koyin, if you would grab it, ein might seem some yadai, nimsa that I'm being might seem with what? With somebody else's money. I'm being might seem my mechiv of my behemoth with somebody else's money. Ella must be that what? Tuck for koyin might seem a some yadai that we do take it away. That's his raya. That's his raya that tuck for koyin might seem some yadai. Says the Gemara. V'isakadaita tuck for koyin ein might seem some yadai. Mine nechnasen l'der. The guy's going to pata his 9 animals. The minor shall kain. Amalei abaya, but could he have more than 9 animals? It could he more. Amalei abaya imishum holy tisaya lamar. It's not a raya to Rabba. Hachamay askinan kigoyin the lesle elatisha. They only have 9. In other words, I gave you you only have 9. The maman of shach ibar chiyuvahu. If it's a regular animal of chulin, shapir kamisasa. Then you don't have the amount of animals for what Ma'aser Behema. So it could be that what tuck for koyin, it could be tuck for koyin. Ein might see yadai, right? But what if it's exactly 10 animals? Memanavsha. What if it's chayiv? That's good. And if it's not chayiv, l'chayra what? It's what you didn't do anything. You're not mechuyev. So therefore, it could be talk for koyin. Ein might see him yadai. The Rabbi lav milsi the Amri. No, I didn't. What I told you was not a good pshat. And in fact, what? Obviously, it must be talk for koyin might see him yadai. And this Mishnah is a good raya to Rabba, right? It is a good raya. Lav milsi the Amri. The sveika la by surhu. Because if it was a suffix, it's guys. If it's a suffix, you can't use it as a carbon. If it's a suffix, you can't use it as a carbon. In other words, a suffix doesn't go into the deer. So it must be that what? That tuck for kayin might see some yadai. And since might see some yadai, it's viewed as the mamam of the Yisrael. And therefore you can put it in the corral. Good. So now how do you know that what? That a suffix is not a barisura? Who did none? The Mishnah in Bechayris. Kafetz echem in amenuyim. Are you counting, guys? You counted and you only get counted once. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And one of the ones you counted, you hit number 10, and one of the ones you counted jumps back into the corral. They're all putted. All putted, right? Labai sur that nan kafetz lechem in amenuyin. If one that was counted already jumps back, the toichay peturin the pata. V'yisak daita sveika boy isuri. And if you're going to tell me a suffix, you have to go ahead and maisa la'asim and manavshach. Go ahead and. Right, the ibar chiyuvahu shapim ma'isa. The ilabar chiyuvahu nifta b'minyan aroi. It should be part of the minyan aroi. Minyan aroi means that since he's right to be counted. Dama rava minyan aroi pata. Alamaisa cholamema asiri vadiyam rachmana b'le asiri suffik achanami asiri vadiyam rachmana asiri suffik. In other words, once you have a suffix animal, you can't go ahead and put it back in the crowd. Okay, let's just summarize what we did so far. And as I told you, one of the most difficult studies in Shas will be finished very quickly. Okay. We have a shell like this. Talk for echad b'fanenu. If a person went ahead, grabbed the talus in front of the other guy. He grabbed the talus in front of the other guy. Close it. He grabbed the talus in front of the other guy, and in front of Bezdin, and the other guy initially is quiet, and then he begins to scream. We want to know what's the din. We want to know what's the din. Do we say it's Maida? Do we say that no, that he's not Maida? We want to know is Maida not Maida. If you're going to tell me that Takve Echad Fenenu, if you're going to tell me that A might see the Sam Yodai, we're going to view it as the guy who kept it. What happens if the guy is Magdash it while they're still holding on to it? Does he have rights in it? Since if he'd grab it, he'd have rights. What about if the person's Magdash it? Would it be Kodesh or not? That's the Shiloh. Says the Gemara being a riot from a bathhouse. What's the case of the bathhouse? 2 people fighting over the bathhouse. The person went ahead and was Magdash the bathhouse. The Amoraim, Rav Chananya, Rabbi Shai didn't know what to do. They separated from it. Rabbi was headed out to Rav Chisda, and on the way he stopped in Surah, but to Rav Nuna. Rav Nuna was Paishit the Shaila what from a Mishnah in Tyrus. What did the Mishnah in Tyrus say? That if you have a Bechor that is a Bechor that Bechor Behema, whatever it is, Bechor Adam, Bechor Behema, Ben Torim, Ben Tameim. Now it's a suffix whether it's a Bechor, and Hamaitzi Mechoel of a Raya. And the Havamina was that even if the Kohen grabs it, you won't take it away from him. And it's Asa Begiza Avoida for that reason. So since it's Asa Begiza Avoida, even what if the Kohen doesn't grab it, why is it Asa Begiza Avoida? Obviously because the Kohen has rights in it. So you see that even without physical jurisdiction over something, a person's rights in something would give him the ability to magdash it. So that's being a riot to Akshayla by bathhouse, that a person had a riot to magdash it. That's being a riot to the case of what of the two people fighting, even if they since if he did grab it, he would keep it. So any person would be magdash it would work. That one being a raya. Said the Gemara, that's sort of Nuna's raya. Says Rabbi, you have no raya. Why do you have no raya? Because by the fact that it's asa b'gisa avoida has nothing to do with the ability of the kohen having it or not. Even if the kohen you take it away from it, it still will be asa b'gisa avoida. Why? Because Hashem took care of it. Hashem came to Mesusa, the bathhouse was what was bidei adam. Mesusa was bidei adam. Says comes along now Reb Chananya and tells Rabbi, I have a raya to you that tak v'koyin might see samiyadai. I have a raya tak v'koyin. You have the suffix. You have the suffix that goes into the bath. It goes into suffix whether it's ma'isa or not. The petach hamar. The suffix petach hamar can use it for ma'isa behemo or not. He said it must be that might see samiyadai, and you can use it because if a might see samiyadai means it will belong to the kohen. If it belongs to the kohen, how can you go ahead right and so it must be you have a raya. Says no, in fact you have no raya. It says in fact you have no raya because why? Because it's speaking in a case where you only have 9. So Mamanashach you should be yaitza. Mamanashach you should be yaitza. If it's yours, it's yours. It's not. It's I guess it's the 10th animal, and therefore Mamanashach you should be yaitza. Says the Gemara that it's not a raya. If it's a suffix, you won't be yaitza because you need a vadai and not. So the whole reason that you could put in the corral, it must be that Metzia semi yadai, and you have a good raya. At this point in time, we're holding tak for koyin Metzia semi yadai.